Ableism, like many other isms, is a modern word for an age-old phenomenon. For most of humanity's history, people whose physical, intellectual and emotional capacities differed significantly from the commonly accepted average have been excluded from many aspects of life others take for granted. In the 18th and 19th centuries, the world went through astounding changes. Medicine, technology, and social innovation alter the way we view ourselves, the people we interact with, and how society works. Even in living memory, diseases and genetic differences that would have either meant a death sentence or a lifetime excluded from society are now virtually eliminated or easily treated. I have living relatives who thought their lives were over after contracting tuberculosis in the 1940s and 50s. TB was often fatal, and those who survived could look forward to a life as an invalid. Think about that word. Invalid. It literally breaks down as invalid, or to put another way, not authentic, not worthy or illegitimate. The traditional view of disability relegated people with permanent physical or mental differences as non-people. Today, hardly anyone in the West even catches tuberculosis thanks to extremely effective vaccines. And if we should be unlucky enough to catch it, we can be cured by a simple course of antibiotics. Dying organs can be replaced with transplants, and faulty heart valves can be repaired. Bones can be braced with metal plates, and prosthetics have allowed people who have lost their legs to walk again. Impairments from injury and disease, along with differences we're born with, no longer have to determine our life path, thanks to our ever-growing understanding of the body and mind. Yet the old attitudes of abled is good, disabled is bad still prevail. That expression of ableism might have seemed innocuous, even socially responsible back when horses and sails were the engines of human commerce. But we live in a different time. Not only do we have the miracles of modern medicine, but we have a completely different social structure. When industrialists started pushing the boundaries of what could be achieved with iron and steel, there were philosophers, theologians, and social innovators building our understanding of morality ready for the much smaller, closely connected industrial world that was emerging. It was a new age of prosperity, where everyone could look forward to better living conditions, better health, and less time spent on survival. In America, the Founding Fathers spoke of all men being created equal and deserving of equal rights. When historians talk of this time, they speak not only of the Industrial Revolution, but the Enlightenment that accompanied it. For the first time in history, the future looks significantly different to the past. It didn't work out quite how many of our forefathers might have imagined, though. Those 18th and 19th century innovators who dreamed of a world free of wanton inequality didn't count for one of humanity's greatest failings. Greed. Greed creates inequality. Inequality begets hierarchy, and hierarchy inevitably leads to prejudice. It wouldn't be so bad if our hierarchies were built around individual merit, but they aren't. Our futures are often determined by things we have no control over. For everyone who was born into wealth and who will never know poverty or struggle in their lives, there are thousands whose lives will be a story of inescapable adversity and uncertainty. Where hierarchy leads to prejudice is in the temptation to believe that our position in life is deserved because we belong to a favoured group, and those who don't enjoy the same privileges in life deserve their inferior lot too. The moment we lose sight of our privilege and start to think that another group is less worthy than ours, we are guilty of prejudice. Like all prejudice, ableism isn't just a question of the words we use or the company we keep. It's an attitude that permeates every aspect of who we are and what we do. So, how about some everyday examples of ableism? When we make assumptions about what a disabled person can, can't, or is willing to do, we're being ableist. using facilities such as parking spaces or toilet facilities reserved for disabled people, however desperate your need or how quick you intend to be, is ableist. When a company decides that making changes to facilities or structures to accommodate disabled people are not cost-effective, they are being ableist. Talking down to or talking over disabled people is ableist. Believing you know what's best for a disabled person in contradiction to their wishes or without even asking them is ableist. Tolerating ableist behaviour from others without challenge is ableist. That's a long list already, but I'm sure you get the picture. So, how can a person behave in a way that is not ableist? It requires a positive, enabling approach to life. If we're to call ourselves civilized, then we have an obligation to each other to provide support where necessary. When a colleague or a friend has their ankle in plaster and hobbles around on crutches for a few weeks, we instinctively make concessions for them, and we don't think anything of it. We don't usually judge them or gossip about them being needy behind their backs. We do what's expected of us, and we help out where needed. We open doors for them, carry things for them, or make alterations to make them more comfortable. We see it as the right thing to do. We see the value in that person beyond their injury. The plaster will eventually come off and they'll go back to the able-bodied life they had before. When someone is disabled, whether it be a visible physical difference or a different way of sensing or processing the world, we have the same obligations as we do to the person with a broken ankle, but we have them for life. Most disabled people we come across are already disabled when we meet them, and society has a distinct problem with treating people with permanent or lifelong disabilities with the same respect and willingness to accommodate as we would someone who broke their leg falling off a table in a drunken stupor. When you look at a disabled person, you can choose to see their potential or you can concentrate on their weaknesses. Both require some understanding of their needs, but the positive glass-half-full approach allows you to include them and unlock their value. It presumes that everyone has abilities and thoughts worth sharing and has the right to do so. You become a facilitator. If we choose the opposite view of focusing on what they can't do or find more difficult, we actively deprive them of opportunities to participate in life, and we fail in that goal of seeing all people as created equal. Rather than a facilitator, we become a barrier. The truly civilized approach is to work with that disabled person to find what needs to be done to level the playing field so that they can enjoy the same opportunities as you do. Some things are straightforward, like providing access ramps, wider doors and elevators for people with mobility problems. Others are less obvious, such as facilitating technology that brings people with learning disabilities and sensory impairments into the fold. Others are still less obvious, like just being patient with somebody who doesn't quite get what you mean instantly, or who might express themselves using different words or mannerisms than you do. What seems to be the most difficult for most people is backing up those actions with the accommodations that matter most. Accommodations of the heart. Every thought you have which puts disabled people in a lesser position than yourself, which affords them less respect than others, that resents any concessions that make their lives easier, is ableist. Those nagging feelings that they're getting away with things you'd get into trouble for is your ableism struggling to be heard. Each time you look at your watch because a disabled person is taking a little longer than you expect in the queue at the supermarket, you're displaying your ableism for all to see. And when you choose not to invite someone to your event because they wouldn't look right, they talk funny, they don't socialise well or have a tendency to be weird around other people, you're actively exercising discrimination against disabled people. The only way to avoid ableism is to actively treat everyone who has an impairment or a disability as an equal partner with equal stakes in the same world you inhabit. They may not be able to do everything you can without some assistance, but that doesn't reduce their value or their potential. If you can do it on a temporary basis for someone with a plaster cast, you can do it for someone else who is disabled for life, whether you can see their disability or not. It's up to you now. I hope you make a good choice. Thank you for watching. Every Wednesday, a new Autismatic video goes live on YouTube, and next week it'll be about internalized ableism. Running this channel is a time-consuming and expensive process, but you can help it continue by becoming an Autismatic supporter or buddy on Patreon and get access to members-only content, or by picking up some of our exclusive merch.